Ah. Hello, hello. If you are here, say hello in the chat. It's a couple minutes early. I'm just doing a quick sound check. Hello. Hi, Kirsten. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Gail. So good to see you. Doing a quick sound check. You can all hear me okay, yeah? Ashley, nice to see you. Tammy, hello. And then let me just do a sound check on testing, testing. Can you hear the piano? Is my mic too loud, too soft? Is my piano too loud, too soft? Mic is a little louder than the piano. So mic is fabulous. Jonathan, yes, we can hear you. Awesome. How loud does this thing go? I don't want to get it too loud if it buzzes you, but let's do another sound check in the minutes while we're waiting for 1 p.m. to roll around. Hey. Oh. It's all good? Okay. Awesome. Sounds fine. Fabulous. Thank you, Ashley. Awesome. So while we're waiting for the official start of it, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself real quick in the chat, where you're tuning in from, and yeah, just say hello. Hi, Isabella. Nice to see you. I'm gonna get Gail, Chicago. Excellent. Southern Idaho. Nice to see you. DC. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Kirsten? Jonathan, Florida. Awesome. Great. Sheila, Central Maine. Hi, Sheila. So good to see you. Isabella, Florida. Greetings from Las Vegas. Tammy, thank you. Sheila, yay. Some awesome people. Some of you I know, and some of you I don't, which is really exciting. All right. And this is a nice, intimate crowd. We're still not officially starting yet, but yeah, after the experience of having 300 people on one webinar last week, it was very exciting. And also, some people missed it, and some people wanted to follow up. So here we are, just gathering all of the folks who want another round. So cool. All right, we'll wait for another minute. And I'll make with some more in-depth questions for you later, but this is going to be highly interactive. All 90 minutes, we're going to do some back and forth. We're going to write a little ditty together. If not a full song, then at least the start of one. Isabel, thank you for liking my hair. It's a little bit of COVID hair, but I think the mane actually tends to work. All the split ends, it kind of works a little bit. It looks ombre. Yeah, I will take that because that was totally intentional and not just my roots at all. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So it is officially 1 p.m. And if you haven't introduced yourself already in the chat, go ahead and do that and tell me where you are coming from. And as always, Minneapolis representing, excellent, home of Prince. Tampa, Florida, nice to see you. And as always, if there's any technical things that are happening, if I'm freezing up, if the audio is too loud or too soft, shout at me in the chat. Awesome. Cool. So let's go ahead and get started because it's going to be a pretty packed workshop. It is an interactive workshop, so it's not one of those things you can, put on in the background and listen to, although I do that often with webinars. This is not a webinar, it is a workshop. Okay, so you were in the right place if you've signed up for creativity through songwriting. You were in the wrong place if you signed up for microwave cookery. I will not tell you how to do that. I will tell you how to be creative. That's what I am all about. Awesome. So, a little bit of introduction on myself and what we're here for. Let's go ahead and you can see the slides all right. You can see my face all right in the little corner there. I'm probably pretty small, but that's okay. You're supposed to be looking at my face again. Woo! Okay. So, a little bit about me. I am a singer songwriter. I perform under the name Little Spiral. I also am part of an electronic duo called Helix Code that isn't on this slide for shameful reasons that I will fix soon. I'm also a coach and a teacher. Um, I do creativity coaching and songwriting teaching. And I also teach business skills to freelancers, which is a fun side project. I am also a marketer at Gata Creative, so I know about digital marketing and stuff. I wear a lot of hats, but the last hat I wear and the first hat I wear is I am a human. I like to focus on that kind of thing in everything that I do. And where I get to be the most human is in creativity. That's really the last thing that the AI bots can really take over, although they're getting there. But creativity is the piece that makes me the most human in this increasingly digital world, and everything that I do is about being human in this crazy technology thing. All right. So go ahead and talk to me in the chat. What is it about this workshop that compelled you to sign up? You saw the title, you saw me, you saw some post somewhere. What was it about it that you're like, "Oh, you know what? I need to spend 90 minutes and, really focus on getting this." So go ahead and type that in the chat, and as you are typing that, I'm just gonna go over a little bit of the expectations of today's session. It is going to be pretty interactive. It is going to be 90 minutes. I will only really talk about free or low cost tools. I promise that it is 99% content. Answers are pouring in. Cool. Francis says, I dabble in adapting songs, but really dare to write a full song, though recently did excellent. Cool. You're in the right place. Jamie says, you can never have too many ways to be creative. Amen. Shannon says, purpose with words. Tammy says, I've written poetry and would love to write songs. You are definitely not alone. A lot of people come to these workshops saying, I'm a writer or a poet and am curious about how to work it into music. Kirsten, my cousin attended your last class and recommended it. She and I boost each other up for creative writing projects. Great. Awesome. Ashley says, I found you while doing some songwriting market research, learning more about songwriters, their process, fears, dreams. Fabulous. And then Macarena says, expand my creativity. Hi, Macarena. Um, Kate says, always wanted to write songs. Ashley is a singer songwriter herself. That's fantastic. Okay. So, the expectation for this, it's going to be 99% content. I do have a little offer at the end. There is zero obligation. Sheila says, I went to school for visual arts and love to write, but also really love music. So the idea of working with my creative muse in the context of style, I really appreciated. No experience. Yes, there is no musical experience necessary. It does help in some cases, but for this, it is not necessary at all. Gail says, I also write and teach songwriting. Curious about your ways. Also, FAWM buddies. Okay, so we will actually get FAWM, FAWN, is February Album Writing Month, which is where you write 14 songs in 28 days. And they don't have to be good, they just have to be done. It's so much fun. And actually, part of this presentation, I'll talk a little bit more about those things. Um, it is very fun. And I'll talk about how you could join February Album Writing Month if you so choose next February. Okay. There is a secret URL at the end of this workshop that is only available to you all. When I do other workshops, this URL is not available to them. It's only available to you. because this little crowd, we're going to have some special things that I want to send you at the end of this workshop. But you do have to stay through the whole thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the rules. All right. What this workshop is really about what I call the creative spiral method. And it's a simple to get unstuck creatively and keep it that way. And we're going to be using that process to write a song together. So I want to make sure the emphasis is actually on this creative process that could be applied pretty much everywhere. I just get people through the door because they're like, ooh, songwriting. But oh, we're going to be talking a lot about the creative process and one way that I use to get unstuck. And it's actually pretty cool. And we will use that process to write songs. No music experience required. Exactly. Um, some does help, but it is not required. All right. This is the chaotic spiral, creative spiral method. I promise you it'll all make sense as we move through it. But that is the initial, we will learn this process right in front of you. Who is it good for? Creatives who are stuck, creatives who are trying something new like songwriting, creatives on a deadline, and quote unquote non-creatives wanting to be creative. I put that in quotes. I do not believe a single human being is not creative. We're just trying to harness that power of creativity. And this is a method that's really pretty dang simple for even people who don't call themselves creative. All right. So while I get the next piece of this presentation, why don't you go ahead and in the chat, tell me a bit, like a short sentence. Do you have musical training? Do you have some sort of musical background? If you have zero, please let me know. I just want to take the temperature of everybody in the room. And if you do, just okay. So Shannon says zero. Fantastic. You're in the right place. You are in the right place. Taught yourself to play guitar. Not good. You are not good is absolutely welcome in here. Olivia says barely above zero. Choir in school, couple of chords, have a ukulele. I learned early childhood music. Yeah, so a lot of people have like in kindergarten was given a recorder maybe, and that's about it. Ashley, yeah, go ahead on a 1 to 10 scale. Jonathan's been playing piano for 6 scale. How think you have? Mostly self is a place to start. I hope you know. Uh, Um, first, I want to do a quick sound check again. Am I breaking up? Can you hear me all right? Lost me there for a sec. Okay, I'm back now. I'm going to keep an eye. My internet have... Okay, you can hear me fine now. Great. Okay, while I was reading group comments, it was cutting in and out. Okay. I hope that the internet stays. Let's all cross our fingers. But you can hear me now and you can hear the piano. That's the most important thing right now. Because we're going to talk about what exactly a song is. Hopefully, you're still with me. So let's talk about a song. I'm going to start playing a song you might recognize. You might recognize. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. What song is this? What's the name of this song? Yeah, actually got it. Heart and Soul. Anybody here can play that song on the piano? First song you learn on the piano. Yep. 6-year-olds will be like, "Hey, mom, look what I can do!" Woo, do, 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 do. Yep. It's a pretty basic song. If you've never touched a piano before, you could probably Google how to play Heart and Soul, and in 20 minutes, you can figure it out. Yep. Yeah, I was annoyed by those 6-year-olds and started improvising off of it. Mhm. Did you know it has lyrics? Some of you may not know. It goes, "Heart and soul, I fell in love with you, heart and soul, like any fool would do madly." Yeah, things that you didn't know. So let's start with this central question of what is a song? What makes that song so heart and soully? What are some of the elements of a song? Just go ahead and tell me in the chat, like what makes a song a song? What are some of the elements? Sheila says melody. That's a great element. Mhm. And with heart and soul, it's the da 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 da. That's the melody. Kirsten says there's a hook. A hook would be something that is really memorable about a song that kind of stays. Francis says form, repetition, emotion, a story, rhythm. All these are excellent answers. Melody, time signature, mood. Oh, you're using fancy terms like time signature. That's okay. But that's, yeah, melody, mood, story, emotion, rhythm, all of these things, they are elements that you can play with when you are working with song. If you've never worked with song before, we can start with melody. La 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 la. We could start with chords, which is, and then we've got um, the rhythm or the groove or whatever you want to call it. So that's exactly where we start, is looking at what makes a thing and start just brainstorming. And here is the only difference at this point of the stage. The only difference between those of you who have like 0 music experience and those of you who have 1 out of 10, you're at 10, is the people who are musicians just have more vocabulary. That's it. Oh, yeah, lyrics. We can't forget lyrics. I'm a big lyrics nerd. So, oh, did I lose? Yeah, we go. I lost my place. Oh my goodness. So we're going to go back to the first step in this. I would call it a 3-step creative process, because if you only learn the 3 steps, you're good to go. And the first step is start with what you got. And I know grammar purists are going to be like, but it's start with what you have. No, I'm going to tell you it's start with what you got because I said so. But what we're going to be doing, and people seem to overlook this step, is let's look at everything that's in front of our nose in the beginning. What's a song? What makes up a song? What are the elements? What are the variables that we get to play with when we are listening to, enjoying music? So when we're starting, we really do need to look at what we got. And right now we've got heart and soul. Beep, 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 bop, 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 bop. In this step, in the first step of this creative process, we are right here. Let's just imagine that's a little spiral path, and we are just starting out with that S. Start with what you got, which is really being aware of everything that you have already. If you have 0 music background, you have a beat of a heart. Well, there it is. There's rhythm. You can start there. Then you've got, heart and soul, or if you have some random um, loop or something like that, there's things that you have already that you may have overlooked, which is, there might be a rhythm, it might be a melody, it might be somebody else's melody, it might be somebody else's song. Cool. Let's start there. So this also works with pretty much any creative process, any creative outlet. If you're looking to go into painting, oh, is the sound out for anybody? Uh-oh. Okay. You can still hear? Okay. All right, Kate, I hope that you can maybe refresh. Hopefully that'll solve it or fiddle with the speakers. But the first step, if we wanted to say start a painting and we've never painted before. Well, what makes up a painting? Okay, there's a canvas or a surface that you're going to be painting on. There's the type of paints. Is it watercolor, acrylic? There's the type of brushes. There's the type of brush strokes. Then those are some of the basic elements that we can see. Okay, this is what we have. Let's just start there. Uh, the more advanced painters will start talking about light and shadow. They'll start talking about chiaroscuro. They'll use big, fancy, vocabulary words. Totally fine. Just start with what you have, what you know, what you got in front of you. It's an important step that people seem to skip right over. Okay. Second in this 3-step process, the SPI are the 3 steps, and we'll get into all that fun stuff later. But the second step is you get to play with those variables. And I emphasize the word play because it's like this. If you've got a whole bucket of Legos in front of you, you get to just piece them together and play around with them and just see what emerges. So starting with what you got and then starting to play around with the variables helps get a lot of people unstuck who think they have to learn all of music theory first. They have to do this, they have to do that. They're not a musician. Blah, 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 blah. Well, just start with what you've got. You got maybe the rhythm, the beat of a heart, and then some chords on the piano. And let's start there. So let's actually let me move 5 inches to my studio over here. We're going to start with Heart and Soul. Here we go. La, 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 la. Okay. Let's start with those, just the chords. If I played all of these notes at the same time, and let's change one thing about them. Instead of going like this, let's actually change it to more of a ballad. Instead of like a shuffle beat, let's go into ballad form. How many people here would say that song is still Heart and Soul? Yes? No? I mean, I could see the answer to either one. Yep, I could see the answer to either one. Let's say we just did that. But then I started singing the melody to it. Heart and soul, I fell in love with you, heart and soul. It could still be Heart and Soul if you kept all of the other elements together. With the melody, yeah, it's still Heart and Soul. All right. So let's change, I don't know, let's change one other element since we're here at playing with the variables. Let's change the lyrics. The lyrics you didn't even know were there. I will always love you. It's starting to get a little less heart and soul-y at this point, but it's still kind of there. It's still in a piece. All right. We're going to change one more variable, and it's going to be the melody. And I will always love you. All right, now we're definitely not in Heart and Soul land. We are in Dolly Parton / Whitney Houston land. That's what the deep, dark secret of a lot of creatives, particularly musicians, know is that all of these, I want to live in Dolly Whitney land. Yes, there should be. If Whitney's not a part of Dolly's theme park, then she should be. We all kind of sort of kind of know this already, and that we're taking these elements that already are there and we're mixing it up. And yeah, Gail, maybe we should write that song later. And this very one, riffing off of others' creations and making them your own. Yeah, and I want to emphasize that I'm not advocating stealing, and I'm not advocating like completely ripping people off, but there is a book out there that I highly recommend. It's called Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. Um, and in it, it just gives permission because what I know is that my definition of creativity, and this is the part of this entire about that in all of creativity. Losing. Okay. Can you hear me now? Freezing up. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. I will repeat because it's worth repeating. My definition of creativity is not making something out of nothing. It's making new connections out of already existing things. Do you hear that? I didn't cut out on you there? Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. If you take nothing else from this presentation, hopefully you'll take a lot, but that's the central thing that I want you to know. New connections out of already existing things. Mhm. Mhm. There's I also here's the thing. Western music only has 7 notes. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it. And we need to remix all those notes and maybe make some in-between notes. There's some in-between notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1.5 and then 2. And if you've got the music theory vocabulary, those are semitones. So that's all we've got, and we get to remix that and, like, create all of the genres that you could possibly know, and that's amazing, and so why not embrace that? So, for example, going back to this there is, for those of you who aren't, musically inclined, this is called a chord progression, where there's a series of chords in a row. This, that's one chord progression. It is called the 50s chord progression because Earth Angel, will you be mine? It's in a lot of doo-wop and 50s music. What is this? Oh no. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to say. Every song in Greece ever. Exactly. You can actually Google 50s chord progression and get a whole list of songs. It's not just in the 50s. Let me think. Mama just killed the man. Put a gun against his head. Pulled the trigger, now he's dead. Like some of our most critically acclaimed songs use this basic building block of a chord progression. Some of the most like, if people say Freddie Mercury's a genius, he is. And also, he's got permission to use this. Why not you? You know who else has permission to use this? It's Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's got permission to use this chord progression, including you, and you can make excellent songs out of it, and you can make terrible songs out of it. So that's what, um, that is what here, let me do this. That's what playing with the variables means. You have so many options, and that's step 2 in this process. So if something is coming to you and it sounds too similar, just change a variable. Don't let too similar stop you from creating. Okay. All right. Step 3. So we've got we're starting with what we have. We're playing around with the variables. All right. But then there's a third step, and it's kind of a vital one. You can actually just these first two steps, congratulations, you're creative. But the third one is following the interest, which is where you get to put your own spin on things and where you get to engage with the creative process. This is where you get to decide. So again, going back to that Legos thing, you're gonna, if you're starting with what you got, which is this bucket of Legos, and you dump it out, and you start playing around with the bricks that you have in front of you. Like you don't have to have every Lego in the world to build something. You really don't. In fact, it's probably better that you don't because then you can just start. And kids will just start piecing those bricks together like with no idea how it's going to turn up. And then all of a sudden they're playing around and bam, there's a dragon castle in front of them. Because they're following their interest. They're actually starting with what they have, playing around with the variables, and then bam, then comes a story. So unless you buy like one of those big fancy like Lego pieces that have all of the instructions, and going back to how you as a kid was creative, all you would do is just put your hand in some finger paint and go to town and not judge on whether or not it's good enough or whether or not it looks like something or whether you just start creating because you're following your interest. And as you grow, your tastes start getting more refined and you want to start creating in a certain way, and that's where you're following your interest again. So I kind of say again, a lot of students come to me and they think they have to have some grand vision in their head in order to start creating something. They want to kind of reverse engineer whatever is in their head, and they might not have the skills to do that, and that's fine. That's just one way of creating. So it's like, on one hand, you have the engineers, the reverse engineers who want to like take everything in their head and piece it together to achieve this grand vision. And on the other hand, you have like the creative wanderers who just start with what they got and then play around with the variables and then they follow their interest and that's it. Um, the engineers can also do that too, because if you're starting with what you got, the thing in your head, and you play around with the variables, does this sound match the thing in my head? Does that sound match the thing in the head? And then following their interest. So both approaches are actually totally valid. Um, I just want to make sure that you can still hear me. I'm kind of paranoid that I will cut out here and there. I just want to say, can you just say hello? I love the distinction between engineers and creative wanderers. Both are valid. Okay, still good. Excellent. Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to put my face back up here. That's my face. I'm still here. You're still here. That's awesome. Okay, let me walk through a process for one of my own songs. And this song is called Mathematics, and I just want to play you a little bit of it and kind of unpack what's going on. So uh, it goes a little something like this. What if thought it was just like a number everywhere and nowhere? Yeah, that's a really fun one to play, by the way. Um, so I had the opportunity. It's a complex little ditty. Sick piano. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. But um, here, eh, don't get too intimidated. I had the honor of playing that song in front of one of my songwriting musical heroes, Ben Folds. And he loved it, and it was within this class. It was like a master class online. One of the comments from another person in that class said, "This song sounds like nothing else. This song sounds like Little Spiral." And that's the best compliment, and also a total lie. I'll take the compliment and also believe that they're telling the truth, but the truth. There is a song, there is a B-side random song by Tori Amos called "Ode to the Banana King." It's a weird little ditty, and it goes like this, Monster Man does all that it can. Lucy serves the unborn cold. Do you hear that bass? It's pretty similar, isn't it? You might not recognize it, but it's still that shape, and that bass line has been living in my hand for years. And what I was doing one day was I was just messing around and making it bluesier. I was going, and as over the years, as I built up skills and vocabulary and learned little bluesy licks like that, I started throwing that at everything, just like shaker, music that I was. And then I started realizing, I come back to this theme of being human in an increasingly digital world. It really does drive pretty much everything that I do. And how is this so goddamn human? What if I made this totally robotic? Okay. And then all of a sudden, this little thing started emerging. You could kind of see how I started with what I had and I played around with the variables and I was following my interest in making something, if I take the swing out of something, all of a sudden it's not it's not human anymore. It sounds really mechanical. And I was very interested in exploring what that meant. So, starting with what I have, messing around with the variables, it's not stealing. Because in that room, in that comment, they say it sounds just like Little Spiral. That's the part, that third step, following the interest, following my spin on things, following what happens if I sound like this or this? What happens if I do that? That's when it becomes a signature me piece. Also, I should also note, um, Ben Folds was very generous with his comments, and also he allowed a couple of us to interview him about his creative process. I have that video, and if you stick around, I will give you that secret URL, and after that secret URL, I will send you a link to that because it's very fascinating to hear his approach to it, and it's not too dissimilar to mine. In fact, I was telling him about my little 3-step process. He's like, "Oh, yeah." So, it's very cool. One of the central things that he says was that all creativity is just a communication. We have something that we want to say. We know that we have something we want to say. Maybe you could start there, even if you don't know exactly what you're saying. Again, Legos might not know exactly what you're building, but you know you want to start playing. So there it is. Okay. If you stick around, I will give you the URL to that interview because it's definitely a fun one and super interesting. Okay, back to the slides. So I wanted to address like following your interest. Sometimes it takes a lot of self-awareness and it takes a lot of that. Sometimes we don't either have self-awareness, which I'm sure I have hit that spot on several occasions. Um, there might be things that that prevent us from really understanding what our own interests are. It could be, we might be into in burnout or mental exhaustion, or we're so bored with everything that we've done already, or there's also poor mental health. I'll give people credit if they're not in that space. So if you feel stuck on following your interest, there are different ways that you can start creating it. And there's just some ideas, variables that you can play with if you are still not quite sure what you're actually interested in, or you're too overwhelmed with all of the variables, and you're like, what do I even, how do I even start? Starting with emotion. One thing with my songwriting students is I ask, well, what do you want people to feel when they hear this song? And that's sometimes enough to get them unstuck and to guide them in a certain way. Is there a story arc? Is there a first act, second act, third act? Is there some big dramatic, conflict and resolution? That's also very apparent in songs. Like, really briefly, for those of you who don't have a whole lot of music background, there's a conflict, there's a resolution. And it just sounds that way. It sounds like this is, well, we gotta move somewhere, right? We can't just end there. Oh, okay. Well, let's move back home. And we want it to end, right? And so that actually is called a resolving a chord. Um, we'll we won't get totally into music theory, but there is a story arc in just the music, not just the lyrics. But you can have tension down here. That's resolution. Okay. Opposites are always super fun. Opposites can create that contrast, create that interest, surprises, mystery, variation, all of these things. Just try playing around with those variables and seeing if there's anything that sparks your interest. Okay, speaking of being stuck, here is what to do if you are feeling more stuck than that, which is totally normal. It is normal. That's where we go into the rest of this spiral. So if you left here just as spies, SPI, start with what you got, play with the variables, follow the interest. If you left here as a spy, cool, that's great. My job is done. But as we go, this is an iterative process. So we're going to start with what we have, we play around with the variables, and we're going to follow the interest. And that interest then becomes the next starting point in which we're going to play around with the variables and then follow the interest and keep until we get somehow stuck. And there are three things that I like to uh, do when I am stuck. The first being just rest. You might just need a nap, or you just might want to take a step away, go do something else, keep your mind off of it for a minute if you're really, really stuck. Uh, Tammy says, I do this. I do this too. Oh, yeah. Um, Active passivity. Now, let me describe this a little bit. This second step is not exactly just taking a full on break, but it is taking some sort of break. Active passivity is something that you can do that engages the body and the conscious brain with something like I kind of call it like a chew toy. Um, so your subconscious has space to work out all your creative stuff, like taking a walk, taking a shower, doing a easy pull. back? Can you hear me now? Yes. Yes. Awesome. I just needed to reset. Thankfully, these are relatively easy problems to solve. Where did you leave off? What was I saying when I cut out? Showers and walks, chew toy. Okay. Yes. Active passivity. You're going for a walk, you're taking a shower, you're going for a drive. That's why a lot of us get these brilliant ideas when we're taking a shower is because our physical bodies are busy and our conscious brain is busy like, okay, I gotta shave, wash my hair, whatever I'm doing in the shower. That gives room for the subconscious to just like cook ideas in the oven. Um, I want to so active passivity, there's a couple of things that aren't actively passive. One is watching TV or movies because that engages too much of your subconscious. You're trying to interpret the story and so do something slightly more repetitive and things like riding a bike, is a little more boring. Um, I say boring. Social media is also like that just sucks you in, and that also uses too much of your subconscious when it should be working, you know? So, active passivity is a very specific kind. Now rest, if you wanted to go and take a break and watch a movie, I would call that a rest. You're just taking your mind completely off of it. Actively passive is just you're still working on it, you're still kinda thinking it, but you're giving your physical self and your conscious brain a chew toy. Let's pull up those slides again if that actually yes, there it is. Again, I lost my spot. It's very upsetting. There we go. And, the third part, and you can see that this is, the last part of the spiral, just let it go. If you get, "Yeah, let it go, let it go." If you get real stuck and you get, kinda hung up on it and you tried the resting and you tried the active passivity and everything just sucks, just let it suck. Just let it go. Maybe move on to another part of the song, another part of the painting, or move on to the next song or the next painting. Let your next one be the masterpiece. Because sometimes we just have to let it go to get back on that spiral path to keep doing that. Um, I also want to there's a number of ways to interpret this let it go. Um, it could be a different part of the piece that you're working on. It could be just a next song, or it could be a whole other project. Just let don't get too hung up on like your mental health is still um important enough to not get too hung up on one particular thing. Now, Ashley says, honestly, my best songs are 3 days later rewrite of the same song in a completely different way. Yes, I love that. That's a great that's a great tactic. If you're really um if that process really calls to you and helps you and gets you really good songs, I love it. Do it. Um I also want to address like how do you know when something is done? Because this spiral could go out into infinity. You start with what you got and you play around with the variables and you follow the interest forever. My argument is actually following your interest will help you know when you are more interested in finishing a thing than you are on working on a thing. And following your interest will actually help you get in touch with, okay, is this thing finished? Do I want to finish it? Am I more interested in finishing it and chasing the oh shiny? I have I if I don't if I'm not officially diagnosed with ADD, I know I've got lots of the symptoms, and I have the oh shiny. object syndrome. And also perfectionism. Yeah, perfectionism, that let it go piece, that's going to be even more important for fellow perfectionists like myself. Um, Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. It really is. If you look back over your body of work, a lot of us, I need that on a t-shirt too, Sheila. Yeah. If you look back, a lot of us songwriters feel this very hard, and a lot of us artists feel it. We'll have so many different ideas, we'll have so many different starts, but we'll never have any finishes. And so when we're in touch with our interest and we look back and we go, dang, I don't actually finish things, then my argument is you can follow the interest once you realize it. Follow the interest of finishing, because that's a whole other skill that needs practicing, just like practicing the piano. Finishing what you start it takes practice. Um, And yeah, for those of us who like to chase all of the new ideas and forget about our old, just remember that. And I do like this image of a spiral because it's a very defined path. And if I spiral too out of the way and start chasing everything else, I can just go back to center and remember, oh, I could start with what I got. I could start with what I have already. I don't have to go find the new shiny thing. I can start with what I have, play around with the variables, walk on that path and follow that interest, and it helps reel me back in. Um, yeah, I don't know if that's a in songwriting in particular. How do you know it if it's finished? Like there's certain elements of a popular song um, that is, there's a verse and there's a chorus and there's things. If you measure against those elements of popular songs, you'll have a better clue on whether or not something is quote unquote finished. Um, but it's not necessary at all if you're writing popular music. If you're writing classical, there's different things. And we are actually going to get more into the specific on song elements in just what's the basic of writing a song, because we're going to be writing a song. All right. Um, Actually, in our very next slide, we're going to be starting this. This is a very good uh, segue, actually. So, um, there is no one hard rule on writing songs. You can do whatever you want, whatever elements are available to you. There isn't there aren't any rules. However, there are quick shortcuts. There are popular ways to write songs. There are songs that you hear on the radio and they have some sort of form. There are quick and dirty shortcuts, basically. There's no one hard rule on writing music, but there are fast ways to write mm, popular. I'll say like popular forms of music. You can go totally experimental. That's fine. Do whatever you like. Follow your interest. But we are going to be talking a little bit more about common form for music, which is, um, let's see, that was not what I wanted. I wanted to click on the next slide. Okay. So here's how we're going to actually, I'm going to before we get to that big question, let's talk a little more about um, form, like what we're doing. Um, what I want to do is share my screen here. Let's share. Tell me if this works and you can see Creep by Radiohead. I have to kind of switch back and forth between it's a little window. Oh, okay. Um, whoa, did not mean to do that. Let me try this again. It was working just peachy earlier. Sorry. Let me stop this. Infinity and beyond. Okay, let's do. I'm gonna switch this one more time. That off. I'm gonna share just a Chrome tab. Let's just see if that works. Okay. Can you see that? Creep by Radiohead. Yes, great. This is a very common form for a popular song. This doesn't cover classical, it doesn't cover jazz. There's a lot of other like EDM. This doesn't quite cover it, but what we're going to talk shortly about verses, choruses, and bridges. Let's scroll down just a little bit. There's an intro. If you're familiar with the song, the verse is when you're here before, and you in the melody or similar melodies. Okay, let's zoom in. Do, do, do. Da, 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 da. How do I here? Does that help? Does that help? Okay, great. You are so welcome. Thank you for calling me out here. So a verse, a chorus, a bridge. Some of those are very popular elements that people use for radio, like radio songs. A verse is a good place for detail when I'm talking about uh, lyrics, when I'm talking about a story. A verse is a good place for detail. A chorus is a good place for a universal theme. And a bridge is a good place for some new idea. So in creep, it would be, the universal theme is feeling like a creep and a weirdo, and that is the thing that we keep coming back to. After all the details, after all the storytelling, like this person is just an amazing you're just like an angel in your skin and all these things, all these details. Then it comes back to the narrator of this story going, God, I'm not even worthy. I'm a creep. What the hell? Goes back into the verse. It develops it a little bit more. The second verse, I don't care if it hurts. I want what you've got. It's developing this story even more in the second verse, and it's using the same melody as the first. And then it comes back to the chorus, which is usually just the same words, melody, chords. Usually choruses are exactly the same as each other. And then a bridge introduces something new. It introduces a twist to the story, introduces some other musical element that you haven't heard before that keeps that interest. She's running out the door. I'm not gonna do the run because I only Tom York can do that. But that's one way of structuring a song. It's a very common way of structuring a song. So you have verse and chorus and bridge, then it goes another verse, and then out with another chorus. So that's something that we can start with what we have. We can start with verse, chorus, bridge. And so as I'm going through that, now not every song is this clear cut. Not every song is this like organized, quote unquote. Um, there in fact Radiohead rarely writes in this form anymore. They're all over the place now, and I love them for it. But we're going to be taking some of this and applying it to a song that we are going to be writing. Usually, in my process, and many people's process, they start with some sort of idea and then build an entire song around it. A good place to start, not the only place to start, would be in a chorus and something called a hook. And a hook is that memorable line that you leave with the song and it gets stuck in your head. And it's the thing that people remember when the song is over. Um, it, you know, there's arguments on what the hook is in the song, like "Creep," but a song like "Respect" by Otis Redding, as popularized by Aretha Franklin, um, you could argue that the RESPECT, that's the hook. Funnily enough, that's in the bridge. It's not necessarily in the chorus, but, whatever that thing is that sticks with you is a good place to start. It's not the only place to start, but it's a nice place to start. So, I'm gonna, stop sharing for a hot second here. If I if my technology allows. Oops, I keep turning me off. Hey, there we are. So we are going to start with something that is a hook, like a central theme that we're going to be exploring, and it all starts with this question. Once again, they lose my place in the slides. That's so frustrating. Here we go. Once again, that's fine. Technology is just dandy. It actually is. It's quite cool. What is one thing that you would say to the world right now? Go ahead and type something in the chat. Like one thing. If you had 5 seconds on a bullhorn that announced just one thing that you wanted to tell the world. Kelly says, be kind. Jonathan says, world peace. Gail, we're humans learning to human. I love that. Tammy says, we are more alike than different. That is very true. Wear a mask. Yep. Those are perfectly fine places to start. Live in the moment. We feel the same. Gotta get this figured out. Actually, I think that whether or not that was a comment or the thing that you want to say to the world, both are totally legit, Francis. Isabella says, stop littering, man. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so of these things that you are contributing, let's go ahead and just get started with. I'm gonna choose. So I could tell Gail's a wordsmith. We're humans learning to human. That's pretty cool. The reason I like that as a songwriter, it's there's a bit of a play with the words. Um, Human is not usually used in that tense or that yeah, in a verb. That's very interesting. Again, it's starting with what you got. Humans learning how to be human. Let's say that that's what we have because that's the correct grammar. And then we get to play around with the variables. I don't know about grammar rules. I'm just going to throw in something else. Humans learning to human. That sounds very interesting, and I'm following that interest. So let's do. We're humans learning to human. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put this up on. By the way, if you haven't noticed, this special thing right here is called Songcraft. This is a tool that is like Google Docs, but for songwriters. It's kind of amazing. And I'm going to go back to the library and let's just start a new song and call it Human. I'm just going to call it that. And look, okay, verse 1. I paste that in. I'm just going to type in chorus. Let's just, while we're here, verse 2. Chorus again. Bridge. And chorus. We are taking the creep structure. It is called songcraft.io. Jamie, thank you for posting that link in the chat. Songcraft.io. And I'll tell you why it's incredibly cool. I'm going to geek out just for a second, especially for those of you who have no music background. Let me turn up this. I hope you can hear it, but if you didn't already, let's say you have no music background whatsoever. Cool. Here is what I would do. Over here, there's chords, which we were talking about earlier. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over here is a chord progression explorer. So I'm going to click on this. Oops. And I'm gonna put in a key. If you have no music background, just pick C major. That's a perfectly fine place to start. You can pick any of them. It's fine. Um, I want to see if you can hear this. I might have to point the microphone up. Can you hear that? Yeah, cool. So I'm gonna turn up the speakers just a little bit because it kind of has to be through. Um, if you don't like it, you could start with what you got and then mess around with the variables. Just generate another one. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I'll do it in a different order. That's cool. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and drag that over here. I'm gonna drag that over here. I'm gonna drag that over here. Drag that over there. And then I'm gonna, there we go. Let's just start there. And I double click. That's cool. If you notice, here, let me, yeah. This is a pretty freaking cool thing. I want to type words, smart words here. I can just, format them a little bit. Oops. And yeah. So, let's start with this idea. So for humans, learn to human. I kind of like that chord progression. Cool. Again, if you've never messed around with music before, just go ahead and watch the replay of this and yeah, big girls don't cry. Hey, there's a little bit of that. Yeah, maybe. If you've also noticed that if I hover over it for you guitar players, it'll show you exactly what to play on a guitar. I believe you can switch with ukulele, I think. Yeah. You could switch to ukulele. For those of us piano players, I was actually talking with the CEO of this joint the other day, and he says piano is coming. I'm very excited. Very excited. But let's go ahead and I'm just gonna take that. I'm gonna cut and paste that up here. And if you are a musician, you can just start typing things and it will, you know, add some fancy things. But I kind of like this idea of we're humans learning. Mm. So we have a chord progression. That's one element. We have some lyrics, at least something to start with. Now in the chat, go ahead and give me a number between 1 and 7, and I'm gonna just pick 4 numbers of what you are chatting to me. So 5, 2, 6, 7. Okay, let's do 5, 2, 6, 7. Remember earlier how I said there's only 7 notes in the Western scale? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to take these first 4 notes, these first 4 numbers, and go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll start with the 5 note. The second one, that's Tammy's note. There you go. Jamie, your note is 2. Ashley, your note is 6. And Kirsten, your note is 7. So Tammy, Jamie, Ashley, Kirsten. That might be a very interesting melody to play with. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. Um, mm, 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 mm. Here is where I kind of deviate. 5167 feels more natural. There, and these are based on a C major scale. Yeah, Jamie, this is based on a C major. Because I've put it on there for those of you who are musicians. Those of you who aren't, you just use this to mess around and see if that generates any ideas. Ashley, to your point, 5167 feels more natural. That is cool because the beauty of it is you can start with what you got and you can mess around with the variables as you're following your interest. So you're more interested in the 5167 kind of melody. That's awesome. You should do that. This is also the part of the songwriting process where we're going to have lots of different opinions, and I will actually open this up to well, let's just start exploring what this melody might be. If it's 5267, I'm gonna write this melody is 5267. Let's just see if we can work it as it is. You can, yeah. Let me hit refresh. Sometimes there's sometimes some bugs. Let's hit refresh. Let's see. Okay, cool. So if I start with this chord, and I'm going to start with the 5. We're humans. Yeah, the 2 does sound pretty interesting. I don't know if it's interesting in a good way or interesting in a bad way. But let's let me just try and play it on the piano. Okay. So we've got a real humans learning to be human. Maybe something like that. Yeah, maybe something like that could work. So I'm not yeah, so the 2 can work. You might be surprised how those numbers might end up working. With Songcraft, I can also record. So I'm going to try and see if I can record this idea that I've got formulated, but I got to practice a little bit. Can you see me if I'm postage stamped? Am I like, you can see me? Okay. But just tiny? Okay, cool. That's fine. Okay. I'm going to try and record this little idea while it's still in my memory. So 5267 recording. Check. Okay. We're human. Ah, gosh. Humans learning to be human. Oh, gosh, that was terrible. I'm going to not record that. I got to practice this for a second. Okay. It's those 7 chords that they're making it pretty, but also messing my brain up a little bit. Okay, the 4 numbers are just a place to start, and from there I can just take it wherever my interest lies. So we're humans learning to be human. Okay, I'm gonna record that. We're humans learning to be human. Oh, human. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna say delete this shit. Interesting melody idea. You could say it's very rough and tumble. It's just Ashley says, could you add 2 chords like circle back around? We can do whatever we want. There are no rules. Sort of, kind of. Um, like circle back around. So let's also figure out what else we want to say about this humans learning to human. Did I say learning to be human? That was a mistake. It should be we're humans learning to human because that's the beauty of the thing. Oh, okay. So Ashley is saying C, E, F. Okay. So I'm going to put this and put that. Laura, I'll get you to your question in a second. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to say Ashley's chord progression. I'm going to leave that as a comment, just as if it were a Google Doc. Or move to human to the next line. Oh, cool. Okay, so got it. That's an interesting. Yeah. We could do that. Let's also just talk about the. Oh, come on. I want to resolve that slight bug. Awesome. Okay, so Laura, what does melody 5267 mean? So before, when I was asking, to give me a number between 1 and 7, those were the first numbers that you all put in the chat. And in a Western, if I was if I was on piano and I was just playing all of the white notes, um, that's probably the most basic scale that I could talk about without getting too deep into music theory. So I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that melody, the first 4 numbers that you all randomly shouted at me, is that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I hope that answers your question. Yep. Yeah, so that's very interesting. So let's talk about the lyrics. So I just threw in a chord progression, which has been progressed by Ashley. Thank you. So running to human. I'm forgetting the 7, which makes it pretty. And again, you're seeing that 7. That's still the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I I don't want to get too deep into music theory. I do want to mention. So for those of you who don't really have a lot of music theory in your background, totally legit, totally fine, because I am a firm believer that you learn by doing, and that you don't need to learn all of the music theory first in order to write songs. Like writing songs, my 2-year-old, my niece when she was 2 years old, she had this hit song that she sang on repeat. It went like this. Yeah, yo, yeah, yeah, yo, yeah, yeah, yo, yeah, yeah, yo, yeah. We don't know where she got it. We have no idea how it evolved, how it came, but she would sing it over and over on different days and different months. It was an earworm that I still remember to this day. If a 2-year-old can write a song, you're good. It's a lot like grammar. It's a lot like you can still speak English without knowing how to diagram a sentence. And in fact, if you start speaking English, you understand how to diagram a sentence because you've been using it, you've been exercising it, and now you're like, oh, there's a subject and a verb and a direct object and a prepositional phrase. It becomes a lot more easy to understand. Same with music theory. You can speak music, you can sing, you can write songs, you can do all these things, but as you're going, you then learn music theory intuitively without knowing what the names of things are. And then, now that we are in, the era of all information in the world is available at your fingertips, you can go Google that shit. You can go YouTube that shit now. So as you're writing songs, my biggest thing is don't think you have to know music theory before writing songs because you learn music theory by writing songs and being curious. That's how you do it. Um, and lots of Googling, lots of YouTubing, lots of, it's why people have piano teachers and voice teachers and songwriting teachers and all that. Okay, let's talk about what we want to say with this song. If the central theme we're coming back to is like we're humans learning to human. So, as I mentioned before, a verse is a great place for specifics and details. A chorus is a great place for more general, universal themes. So let's start. We can flesh out this chorus just a little bit when we have a few minutes left here. Let's flesh out this chorus. So we're humans learning to human. What else can we say about it? Let's find some things. In music, a lot of rhyming. In Songcraft, there's a rhyming dictionary, you guys. It's so cool. Um, I'm just double clicking this, and I'm gonna send it to the dictionary. And there is a whole bunch of rhymes that we could think about, like near rhymes. These are a lot of the gluten. Yeah, let's make gluten rhyme. Then there's synonyms. Then there's related words. Then there's sounds like. There's a bunch of cool stuff. Ooh, stupid. That's interesting. Yeah. Ashley, how did you not know about this tool? I didn't know about it until like 2 weeks ago. You and me both. Oh yeah, Jamie, for those of you who are musicians, you can transpose things up and down like this. It's so cool. It's really, really cool. Yeah, those of us who are songwriting nerds are like, "Oh my gosh, what?" For those of you who aren't, you'll be like, "I don't understand." It basically, I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit more. If I go down, human learning to, whatever it is. If I transpose it, it's slightly higher, but proportionally higher. It's pretty cool. That's what that means. Oh, good. I already texted this to my brothers. That's awesome. Yeah, Songcraft is freaking great. It's a long road. Let's start now. Francis, is that something that I think that actually would be good for line 2? Yeah, let's start that. All right. So, I wanna give proper credit where credit is due. I believe this is Gail's. That's Gail's credit. All right. And then this is Francis. Actually. And this, I always spelled that right. Yes. In a world that's constantly moving. Mhm. Kelly, that might be a really good, nice, concept for a verse because that's a good, detail. Well, actually, it could actually be in both. I'm not too bothered at this. One shortcut. Let's a long road. Let's start now. Okay. So, now that something is starting to take shape, um, one way of writing a song is having the verse be like the story. Here's an introduction. We're introducing the characters. We're getting really specific about What's the character? What are the characters doing? And then they are learning the thing that's in the chorus. And then the verse 2 is how the characters are developing and how they're coming across some challenge. And then the chorus is again that lesson that they should have learned, but they still are learning. And then the bridge is all of a sudden like boom, some twist in the plot. And then again, you should have learned the lesson in the chorus, you guys. Yeah, Kelly, in a world that's constantly moving, we're gonna credit you. Ba, ba, ba. Actually, I really would love to hear what you have in mind for the melody, but we can't do that in this format, which is dumb. Um, what we can do, though, this brings me to um, what I remember at the beginning. I said I have a secret URL. I have a secret URL. So let me step away from this songcraft.io for a second because this is the secret URL. And what I would like for you to do is we don't have a whole lot more time. Um, we could still make some progress on this song. I think it's kind of cool. Um, But what I want to do is give you all permission to take the seed of this song that we have started together and flesh it out on your own. And if you, let's see, today is the 6th. Jonathan, thank you for, yeah, it's CTS as in creativity through storytelling. If you go ahead and open up a songcraft.io account and I will be sharing you if you sign up for this. Um, oh, you do a Facebook group called Storytelling Through Song. Yes, we do. Go ahead and Ashley, sign up. We need to talk. Yes. Go ahead and sign up there, and I will get your email, and we'll connect from there if you sign up through this secret URL. Perfect. Um, what I'm gonna do? Where's my screen share? There it is. If you just and songcraft.io is free for up to 5 songs, then it's a pretty reasonable price above that. If you go and I'm going to share this link if you sign up through CTS dot crappity crap, where's my thing? CTS.littlespiral.com. If you sign up through there, I'm going to email you the link to this Songcraft document. And what you will do is take that and create your own song. And if you send it in to me, if you grab the link and you send it in to me by Sunday midnight Pacific, and I'll give you all the details once you sign up for this URL, through this URL. If you give me a finished song, I will ship you a one-time only discount code for 40% off my future workshops, classes, and tutoring. But you have to do it by Sunday night, and I'll give you that one code. It's good for one. So if you got that 40% code before, you've got one more if you wanted to write another song. So I'm going to once again go back to Songcraft. I just want to make sure it's cts.littlespiral.com. I will be sending everybody who signs up the link to this document. You can copy and paste it straight into another document. Because I don't want to edit this one because it's don't edit this one, but you can copy and paste into another document. Super easy. Blah blah blah. Paste. Oh, it should have pasted. Oh man. Select everything. Copy. Back to library. It worked last time. Yay, there it is. Um, yeah, so if you do that and then you send it to me, go and click on the sharing and collaboration in your new document. Send it to hi@littlespiral.com. And I'll put that up on the screen as well. Actually, I'll type it. Hi@littlespiral.com. Typing it in the chat, and I'll put that up on the screen as well. Because I have it on the screen. Because you all freaking rock, is why. So that's the deal. Go ahead and sign up for the list. I'll send you more information. I'll also send you that link to the Ben Folds interview. It's in a Facebook group of mine. I will send you the Songcraft link, and if you're kind of techno not savvy enough, like it's fine. You can email me some lyrics. It's fine. I will accept that. The most important point is it does not have to be good. It does not like crappy songs still get discount codes. Okay. As long as you feel it is in some finished state, it does not have to be a good state, but as long as you feel like it is finished. Yes, Sheila. Follow the Brown songs still qualify. That's a quote from Sheila and I are Ben Folds fans, like big time. And that's a quote from one of his out of his book, where every songwriter that he talks to, if we write crappy songs, great. Sucking at something is the first step at being good at something. And you're gonna have crappy songs, you're gonna have crappy paintings and photos, and you're gonna have crappy things. It's like turning on a faucet and just letting the muddy water, the brown water, just flush out until you get to the clear. And that's the beauty of my FOM part of February album writing month. When you're writing 14 songs in 28 days, when you're putting quantity over quality, you're emphasizing quantity, the quality shows up anyway. It's kind of magic. So just keep going, keep doing, let it all flush out. Follow that brown upside down. It's exactly like writing the 3 pages a day exercise. That's the artist way morning pages. If you're interested in that, every morning you just brain dump for 3 pages and let it all just go out. It's also FOM is very similar to National Novel Writing Month, which the course of a month, you're supposed to write 50,000 words, and it could be 50,000 words of pure crap. Doesn't matter. My point is, if you are able to finish this song and send it in to me by Sunday night Pacific, midnight Pacific, crappy songs still get discount codes. Just send it to me. As long as it feels complete, and I consider complete at least let's aim for at least 2 verses and a chorus. Yes, Gail, the album I'm working on now is all songs from the past 3 years of FOM, February Album Writing Month. It's amazing what rises to the top. Yep, you just keep churning it out, and all of a sudden, that was actually not so bad of a song. Sheila, this is the best homework assignment I've ever had. Yes! My goal is done. Oh, discount code is for any of my future workshops. It's a one-time discount code. And actually, let me pull up my next workshop is actually next week, August 15th. It's Saturday. Let me just pull that up. I know it's at 2:30 and I want to respect your time. But I will also send you information on my next workshop, which is a half-day workshop. We'll get more into the nitty-gritty of songwriting itself. And it's a half day online workshop from 10 to 2 Pacific, or 1 to 4, 1 to 5 Eastern. And Ashley, yes, we should all connect. I've got a Facebook group that I will also send you if you sign up for the email list. So cts.littlespiral.com. Let me do a quick screen share of more information about this songwriting workshop. You will be learning songwriting by doing it. Beginning and advanced songwriters welcome. There will be fun exercises, prompts, there's collaboration. You'll learn some new skills about songs themselves, and then more discounts because I like throwing discounts at people. Um, I will share more info. Please for that mailing list. If you didn't have it again, cts.com. And thanks for staying another minute past deadline. I hope you got a lot out of this. There is going to be a replay. It should be sent to your email um, soon. And thank you so much for showing up. I hope this helped. I hope you're now jazzed and inspired and feel like you can create pretty much anything, even if you have never touched a piano before. Um, yeah, and if there's any other questions at all, especially like I definitely want to encourage those of you with not a whole lot of music background, go ahead and email me at hi@littlespiral.com. Um, tell me how you like this workshop. Tell me if there's anything missing, and any other help that I can be helpful for. All right. Thank you, and thank you for putting up with the sound cutting out and all of that. I hope that this is a start of your creative journey. All right. Take care, everybody. Awesome. Bye.